One of the big criticisms that I and a lot of people have about self-help is the fact that there doesn't really seem to be much of an end goal to it. You set a certain amount of goals, you go out and you achieve most of them, and then you fail some, and then you set more goals and you go and achieve them, and you basically repeat this until you die. And really, if you ask me, that doesn't sound too rewarding. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about when you should stop working on yourself, when you should bring your self-improvement journey to a close, or what is the end result that you should be looking for when it comes to your self-improvement journey. So in my mind, when it comes to self-improvement, everything that you do, every action that you take, every goal that you set must be geared towards self-acceptance, because self-acceptance is what is going to underpin a life of happiness, a life of confidence, a life full of love, and so much more. To me, self-acceptance should be both the beginning and the end of the self-improvement process, because if you get into self-improvement under the assumption that you are fundamentally broken, then you are not going to be progressing in the way that you want, because you're always going to have this underlying belief that no matter what you do, you will never be perfect. And that's something that we're going to get onto a little bit later, this idea of perfectionism. But that was how I got started with self-improvement. I, at that time, believed so strongly that there was something wrong with me that was the underlying belief that really drove my self-improvement journey. And at that time, I really didn't make it too far, because, well, you can't really build your self-improvement journey on such a toxic belief about yourself. It has to start and end with self-acceptance. So what does that mean at the beginning? Well, at the beginning, it means you have got to first and foremost work towards becoming your minimum viable person. This is something that I've spoken about on this channel before, this idea of working towards becoming the version of yourself that is basically the bare minimum that you could live with. If right now you are living with the belief that you are not good enough, you're a bad person, or you're not worth it, or you are a person that doesn't have any value, then this is what you should be striving towards first and foremost. What is the minimum that you have to be in order to accept yourself? And really, the first part of your self-improvement journey is simply that. It is finding how you can accept yourself as your MVP, your minimum viable person, at least in my understanding, in my belief about how self-improvement is supposed to work. So before you start to try and work on any massive goals or life vision, I believe that if you don't at least have a minimum foundation of self-acceptance, you are going to go through all of these further goals and whatnot with this underlying sense of self-loathing. These successes will never be fulfilling to you, as I found out during the first few years that I was working on myself. It was only really when I started to do therapy and counseling that I started to gain a sense of self-acceptance. And with that sense of self-acceptance, I didn't have to spend so much energy trying to fight back my self-loathing and self-hatred. I could actually get on with the things that mattered. So if that's how you get started with self-improvement, then how does it all end? Well, for sure, one of the best things that you could do for your self-improvement is, of course, smash the like button on this video, because it really helps the channel and it's a great way to support. But in all seriousness, the end result of self-improvement for so many people, even if they don't say it out loud, is perfectionism. It is, I want to have this insane amount of money. I want to be a millionaire, decamillionaire, centimillionaire, billionaire. I want to live in this massive house. I want to drive all these cars. I want to have this really attractive spouse and all these amazing children. I want to go on like 12 holidays, like for every single month of the year. I always want to be traveling. I always want to be doing this and this and this and this. And there's this ideal vision, this perfectionist goal that so many people strive towards. And let me tell you this, most likely your perfect life vision will not happen. And I know that's super sucky to hear, but don't click off the video just yet. I want to try and win you back from that extremely pessimistic, possibly nihilistic statement, because in reality the end goal of your self-improvement journey should be to build yourself up from your minimum viable person to the point where you are just consistently happy and pleased with your life. And this involves a lot of self-discovery. It means finding out the things that you want in your life and the things that you don't want in your life, and calibrating yourself and your experiences so that you can spend as much time as possible in the things you like category as against your things you don't like category. And to me, really, that is it, because you could easily spend your entire life trying to improve yourself, this process of continuous and never-ending improvement. And that's what a lot of self-help gurus try to sell to you, because that's the way that they maximize their profits. It does not really make business sense for a self-help guru to tell you, well, you only really have to work on yourself for like a few months or a few years until you've reached that place of more or less complete self-acceptance where you're happy with yourself and you're happy with your life the majority of the time, because you'll never be 100% happy with yourself or your life. That's a pipe dream as well. But for them, because their object is to make as much money as possible, they have to tell you all, no, the project is never done. You've never quite gotten to be as good as you can be. You could always be a little bit better. And that to me is counter to the goals of self-improvement, because it has to start and end with your self-acceptance. Otherwise, you can spend your entire life working towards things and never be happy, never be fulfilled. Whereas if you work towards what it is that you want out of life from a place of self-acceptance, knowing that if you make it or if you don't make it, that you are okay with who you are regardless, and you are okay with the person that you have become, that to me is a much better way of moving forward with things. So to really answer the question, when should you stop working on yourself, it is at the point where you can accept yourself as you are, basically most of the time, when you are happy with yourself, when you can continue to pursue your goals and whatever it is that you want, but that you know that you don't have to, that the achieving of those goals isn't going to make you a better person because you are a good person now. You are good enough. And I know that that might seem frustratingly vague, but with topics as subjective and complex as this, it kind of borders more on the philosophical rather than anything else, which means that I can't give you a blueprint. I can't tell you, you know, you do this, and this, and then you have won the game of self-improvement and like, that's it. And like, at the end of the day, I'm 26 years old. I do not know everything. I don't even know like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of all there is to know about life and self-improvement and happiness and all that other good stuff. But I do know that self-improvement must start and end with self-acceptance. Otherwise, you'll just find yourself on a treadmill and you'll never get anywhere, because at the base of it, you're always going to think less of yourself because of the things that you didn't achieve, because of the mistakes you made along the way. You have to start from a foundation of self-acceptance and then build from there.